The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well? Sharing my screen now. Good morning, all. I'm Ahmed Lashim from Center Innovation. I'll be covering the webinar for working from home Orthodox today. First of all, let me check if you all can hear me or not. By the way, in the right side, there is a section for questions and for chat as well. So feel free to write down in the chat if you have any question or write down the question directly in the question section. So if you can hear me well, please just write down in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. All right. Okay. I'll assume that you guys can hear me well. All right. So I'll start now working from home webinar. During this webinar, we will go through several topics like what the working from home preparation should be and how we can use SODOX license from home. What's the expected performance that you have to start seeing daily now from SODOX, especially when you are using a VPN connection to the server? And what is the data management options we have within SODOX portfolio? We'll go through BDM and 3D Experience, which is a BLM solution as well. Um, Starting from working from home preparation, there is a basic guidelines about what we should do to be ready to work at home. Uh, like have the place to work ready, have a working time set up. Remember to eat and keep hydrated. Remember to take your breaks on time and stay in touch with your team. As you all know, starting from now, in New Zealand, we are working from home, so we don't have the team environment in the same place anymore. So if you want to chat with your colleagues, you have to use online-based communication tools like Skype or Teams or any software to communicate with your colleagues. Keep in mind that we can support you for SODOX. If you have any question or any product you have from Center Innovation, contact us. We can help you. Especially that if you have any SODOX question, previously you just jump into your college desk and ask him the question. So since this environment is not available anymore, please contact us anytime you have any questions in SODOX. Not only for issues or errors, you can ask us if you have any question for how to do stuff. Um, Yep, I already got a response that you guys can hear me. And all right, let me move this window away. Okay, so as a working from home preparations that you guys need to consider is ensuring that you have your chair set up correctly. We are spending all the day now working at the dining table or somewhere in your house, so make sure that you have a comfortable environment with chairs and desks and keyboard and mouse locations. Yep, set timers for your phone to remember your lunch break and so on. So yeah, just some bits and pieces to consider to make your work environment more comfortable. Uh, let's move now to the SODOX topics that we have to consider. Uh, since we start working from home, VPN connection became a mandatory, especially if you have a multi-user environment and you have a shared data on your server or you have a network license for SODOX. VPN connection is a mandatory. So you need to contact your IT team to provide you with a VPN connection. Um, unless if you have other solutions, like you will move all your data to your local machine and you have a SODOX standalone license, and VPN might not be mandatory in this scenario. We will go through all SODOX license, and what if you don't have a VPN connection? How can you use SODOX if you are using a network license? And we'll go through all the pros and cons of working from home as well. But VPN connection is mandatory for most of dealing in a multi-user environment. If you are working from home and struggling to source a hardware, we are a hardware provider for IC3D products, towers, and laptops. So please contact us if you're struggling to source hardware for your home. Starting by SODOX license. As you know, there is two types of SODOX license: standalone license and network license. A standalone license is installed in one machine, activated in your machine, and if you would like to transfer the license to any other machine, you have to deactivate it and activate it on the other machine. A standalone license serial number structure usually start by either 4 zeros or 0001 or 9000 or 9001. This is the first 4 digits of the serial number for a standalone license. If you have a standalone license, then you can easily move your office machine to home and start using it. You don't have to worry about license alone because your license is activated in the machine. If you have a different machine at home, you have to transfer the license from the workstation at work and activate it in your home workstation. So that's the first license. How can I double check my license? It's standalone or network. If you still can access SODOX, you can click Help, About SODOX, and you will see a blue text here, Show Serial Number. Once you click on the blue text, your serial number will appear. So you can double check what your serial number is, and you can know if it's a standalone or network. Network license is a different structure for managing SODOX license. Network license is installed in a server managed by SODOX Network License Manager, and the SNL or SODOX Network License Manager is the one that manages the distribution of the license over the network for different users. So for example, if you have SNL with 5 SODOX standard license, this means any 5 users in the network can open it in the same time. Any user. So you can install SODOX in 10 machines, but only 5 users of this machine can grab a license from the server. So obviously, all the clients must communicate with the server, must be connected all the time with the server to grab a license. And the connection between the client and the server is not only to grab a license and use it, then you can disconnect it. No, you must remain connected all the time, because SODOX keeps sending signal to the network that I'm still using SODOX and I'm still booking this license for myself, so no one else can use it. If for any reason the network connection is unplugged, you are not connected to the network anymore, SODOX will give you an error message that SODOX will be terminated within 15 minutes, I believe. So it gives you like enough time to save your data. And your license will be released to the network so anyone else can use it. This means if you are not connected to the network with VPN connection, you can't use your network license. Your network license, the first 4 digits of it has 1 and the 3rd digit. This is how we know that your license is a network license. So that's the different types of SODOX license, standalone or network. We'll go more intensive in the standalone license. A standalone license, as I mentioned earlier, is a machine activation. It's like I activate it in my machine. If I need to move it to other machine, I have to do steps of deactivation and activation in another machine. Frankly, there is a new activation system has been released in 2018, which is online activation. Online activation is different approach, a little bit similar but easier than machine activation. Online activation linking the license to your credential, to your login credential, or to be more precise, to your customer portal credential. So when you open SODOX, you will log in with your credential and you will use your license. If you install SODOX in any other machine using the same serial number, then once you open SODOX in the other machine, you will kick out any other user using the same serial number, same account, and you will use it in the other machine. So you don't have to deactivate and activate anymore. The last open when the last user opens SODOX will kick the other one out. But all of these machines should use the same serial number and same login credential. So online activation doesn't require deactivate and activate. Just double click and open it. That's it. If you use machine activation, the way to transfer your license, you have to click help in SODOX, license, deactivate. Then select the license that you would like to deactivate it from your machine and proceed in the deactivation. Go to the second machine, open SODOX, go through the steps to activate it on the machine. But if you are using online activation, it's a completely different scenario. So switching between machines, just open SODOX and you will use it. If you would like to switch your license to be online activation, contact us, contact our support team, and we'll send you a document how to convert your license to be online activation. Just a moment, I have a question. In a school environment, can we get a student to use the online version since their device might not be powerful enough to run the standalone version? Okay, so I'm not talking here about online version of SODOX. I'm talking about online activation. So SODOX is still a desktop software, desktop installed in your machine completely, and it's just a matter of how you will use a license. Will you use it from a machine activation or online activation? But still, it's not a cloud version of SODOX. But there is a cloud version of SODOX called 3D Experience X Design. It's a completely different product. Still have some limitations, so it doesn't have sheet metal or WorldMint or some modules is not available in this cloud version of SODOX. But I have another solution for you. SODOX has provided a free 2 hours daily of SODOX that you can use it anywhere in the cloud. Let me show you this one. I'll open my SODOX website. So all you have to do is create an account in mysodox.com, then log in to this account. I have an account here. Yes. And inside my SODOX, there is an option here to try SODOX. Try SODOX will give you access to SODOX online for 2 hours every day. Could be useful for students to use it for practicing or playing around with the software. It's a completely cloud version of SODOX. It's different than XDesign, and it's not the same topic I'm talking about of the online activation. Online activation is completely different topic. This is only to answer your question, Rodwell. Yep. So SODOX now is launching inside my web browser. Preparing to launch SODOX. No worries. Yeah. Yep. Here we go. SODOX 2020. And yep, it's a full version of SODOX. You can use it in any machine if even your machine is too slow or you're using a Mac machine even, not a Windows operating system. So as you see, I have here SODOX running. I can start creating my files using my templates, and I can save my files on the cloud. So yep, you can use it anytime. I don't know about the limitation on upload and download, but I believe you can save your file and download it. I didn't try it much before, but yeah, you have like a virtual machine on the cloud where you can save your data and you can save it in Sodox downloads and yeah. Anyway, so um, what I show you earlier is just online version of Sodox. Anyone can use it for practicing for 2 hours. Going back to the topic I was talking about is if you have a Sodox standalone license, this standalone license could be activated per machine as a that must be transferred and activated if you would like to move it, or it could be online activation. So your license is usually communicating with Sodox server all the time. So you must be connected to the internet all the time to use your license. You still use your Sodox installation in your Windows as it is, but the activation is different. For the online activation, I just mentioned that you must be connected all the time to the internet to be able to communicate with Sodox server and your license to be running all the time. If you would like to take your license offline, you can switch it to offline mode so no one else can kick you out and take the license. If you want to know more information about the online activation, please contact us. We have a documentation that we can share it with you about online license. And I will share with you at the end of the webinar how you can contact Center Innovation Support Team. If you are using a network license, which is I covered early that it has SNL on the server that distributes the license over the network to different users. So if you have a network license, this means that you must be connected to the license server all the time. Currently, all of us are working from home. So the only way to connect to the server is using the VPN connection. If you don't have a VPN connection to the server, then it's an issue because we can't connect to the network anymore. If you still can connect to the network somehow, you can borrow license. But due to the lockdown now, it's too late. I don't think that anyone can go to the office to borrow license. So if you are in a situation that you forgot to borrow license or you didn't borrow license for any reason, and you're currently working from home and you don't have access to Sodox, please contact us and definitely we can help you. Yep. But if you already borrowed a license, then you will be able to use Sodox. How to borrow license if you're still able to? To borrow license, all you have to do is using start menu, open the Sodox license manager client. Then third tab in the top called license borrowing. Select the product you would like to borrow, which is Sodox standard or professional premium. Select the date that you would like to borrow to. Let's say a month from now. Actually, the maximum is 1 month. Then click borrow. Yep. But you can only borrow the license if you're still connected to the server. After you borrow the license, you can disconnect from the server, take your machine home. Again, if you didn't borrow your license, you don't have access to Sodox anymore, contact us and we will help you. How the VPN is working? VPN is just using the internet to connect your local machine, your home machine, to the server and your office. This means any action you are doing in your machine, like dealing with Sodox, network license, and or dealing with any shared data on the server, or dealing with any item on the server, you are depending on the internet speed, and you are going through the public network to communicate with the server, which is basically will be slower than being in the office, definitely, and have a direct contact to the server. So what's the expected performance issues that you might start seeing from today? Sodox might take a longer time to open if you are using a network license. Because what will happen here is that Sodox is trying to communicate with the license server manager on the server machine through the VPN connection. I saw to some customers that connection is too slow. So literally Sodox took around 5 minutes to open but that's because it's a country region and the connection was literally too slow. In such a scenario, maybe borrowing a license would be better than just using the network license as it is. But this is only the aspect for the license. So we still have a solution. We can borrow it. But what about using our shared data? Because most of the Sodox users either using a data management solution or using a shared data on the network. So now opening any file in the network will be too slow because you are using the internet speed to download and upload the data. Even after you open the assembly or open the port, every time you are saving, you are going through your internet speed to save it on the server, which will be too slow, especially if you are dealing with large assemblies. So it's recommended to use a solution or to use a local file in your machine to be able to use your machine resources, not internet and network resources. So what's the solutions that you can use? There is two types of solutions supported by Sodox and solutions not supported by Sodox, like Dropbox and OneDrive is not supported by Sodox. But anyhow, it works. For some users, they use Dropbox and OneDrive, it works fine, but they struggle with some issues. Sometimes files get corrupted. I will explain why soon, but this could be a good cloud solution that you can use it to save all your data in the cloud and use the fact that Dropbox and OneDrive is downloading a local cache in your machine so you can use it, and this local cache will be always synchronized with the server. So when you save some changes, these changes will be uploaded to the server automatically. But the main issue with the Dropbox and OneDrive that the synchronize is working all the time. So you might still working on the file and synchronizing will happen, then the file will get corrupted. So it's recommended if you are using Dropbox or OneDrive, turn off the synchronizing, keep working with your local cache. Once you are done with your design, save it, close Sodox, then turn on the synchronizing. Then you guarantee that no file will be corrupted. But it's not a supported solution by Sodox, but still could be used. Other solutions that's being supported by Sodox, and I believe most of you already have it, which is BDM standard. If you have SolidWorks professional license, this means you have BDM standard for free, exist and ready to use. Other solutions like BDM Pro and 3D Experience PLM is available as well to help you in data management. All of this solution is using the concept of having a local cache in your machine. So when you're saving, when you're interacting with your file, you are dealing with a local file. You are not communicating with the server while you are designing. You're only communicating with the server when you check in or check out or when you're doing any transaction in your workflow. Other than this, you are using your hardware capability in the design process. So what's the difference between BDM Standard and BDM Pro? BDM Standard is a free product that exists with Sodox Professional, limited you to only use one workflow. I will show you the workflow here in my BDM interface. So that's a BDM workflow. When I design any part, the status of the part will be work in process. When I'm done with my design, I have to right click on the file, change the state of the file, submit for approval. So I will use the transition submit for approval. A notification will be submitted to managers or peer check or generally my colleagues that this file is required approval. And the status of the file will be changed to be pending approval. My manager or my colleague, depending on the permissions I assign, can check the file and decide if you reject it or approve it. If he decided to approve it, within this transition, we can have actions to increase revision, to automatically create PDF files, and to do changes in some custom properties as well, like watermark or something like this. This workflow in BDM Standard and Pro is fully customizable. So you can add as much status if you want. You can completely delete this workflow and restructure it as you like. But in BDM Standard, you can only have one workflow. In BDM Professional, there is no limitation. You can build a workflow for engineering changes, a workflow for purchasing, or workflow for other documents other than SODOX documents. Because, by the way, BDM is not only for managing SODOX files. You can use it to manage any kind of files as well. In BDM Standard, you are limited only to 10 states. In BDM Pro, you don't have a limitation. I'm talking about the state like work in process, pending, approved, released, so you are only limited to 10. Revision scheme, you can have 2, but in BDM Pro, you can have unlimited revision scheme. Revision, because BDM has revision and version control as well. And there is other difference between BDM Standard and Pro as well, like automatic tasks. You can have automatic task, for example, to create a DXF file to export as parasolid file or STL file within the workflow. So once I approve the document, PDF, DXF, step, STL, all the export will happen automatically. So you don't have to worry about the manual process of doing this export, or you don't have to worry about is the exported file is the latest version or not. Because sometimes you export a PDF file, then you discover that, oh, I have to do some changes. After you do it, you forget to do another PDF file. So it ended up that the PDF is not the latest version. So BDM guarantees that when you approve it, it will be the latest version, because BDM is the one who will generate the PDF for you. BDM Standard can only automate the PDF creation, but BDM Pro can create unlimited number of tasks. Automate data import and export for communicating with ERP system. If you would like to export, for example, the bill of material as a XML file, so your ERP system will import the bill of material automatically, this could be done. Or you can import some data from your SQL database to be used as a drop list in your data card. Other comparison in BDM Pro, you can have a project template. So you can just right click new project and all the folder structure of the project will be automatically created, included all the templates. BDM Pro has a serial number system as well. So when you create a new file, the file name will be automatically serial number. Also, BDM Pro allow you to use multi-site replication. So if you have an office in Australia, office in China, anywhere else in the world, you can replicate your vault to other locations as well. Keep in mind that BDM Standard is using SQL Express. SQL Express limits you to 10 gig of database size. Database is not the size of the actual files. Database is only the metadata and file names and all the file attributes size. So 10 gig is a little bit big, but not suitable for a big company that has more than 5 or 6 users. Especially that SQL Express is using only 1 gig RAM. So when you have more than 5 or 6 users of BDM Standard, you will face a lot of delay in using the system when you exceed 6 users because of the limitation of SQL Express. BDM Pro is using SQL Standard, which is more powerful and faster. If you would like to start using the BDM Standard, please contact us and we'll guide you through the BDM implementation process to make sure that BDM is installed correctly first time and implemented correctly, because BDM is kind of software like rubbish in, rubbish out. So if you implement it wrong first, it will end up that you are messing around with all of your data. A lot of issues will happen to your data, and fixing it later on will be a hassle. That's why our expertise in BDM, who is the one that can install the system for you, set up the process, and do the admin training and user training. We still can do the BDM implementation during the lockdown as an online implementation if you would like to start using BDM Standard from now, especially if you have a VPN connection to the server, which will allow us to install BDM on the server and do the admin training and user training as an online training as well. Any questions till now? All right, let me check here the chat and the question. All right, feel free to interrupt me anytime and ask any question. Um, Next step now, I will explain the architecture of BDM, how BDM is working. I mentioned earlier something about SQL and SQL Express and SQL Standard and some limitation in SQL. So what's the SQL is? SQL is the brain of the system. SQL is the place where we store all the custom properties of your file, all the permissions, who can do what when, and all the file names, for example, is stored in SQL. So all the information is stored in the SQL Server. But when it comes to the physical file itself, this one will be stored in the archive server. Uh, so all the clients must be connected to the SQL Server and archive server all the time. Archive server for using the physical file, SQL Server for grabbing all the information and permissions for the files. But how this connection is working? I will just a moment. I have a new question here. Can you run BDM online so it can be accessed from anywhere without a VPN? Um, yep, thanks Nike for your question. Yes, we can run BDM online using a web access. Um, uh, yes, so we have to install SII on the server and we can do the web access. So you can download, check out your files, download the files. But the web access is basically used to view the files, change state, download the files. But you can't use it, I believe, to upload and check in the data. So you can um, yeah, so the web access has some limitation, but yes, you can access it from everywhere in the world. Yes, um, but using BDM with VPN is not slow. I will go through in the next slides how we can use VPN with the best performance over the VPN. Nike, are you using a BDM standard or Pro? Standard. Okay, so for BDM standard, you don't have the license for web. It only comes with BDM Pro. So if you have a BDM Pro, the regular license for BDM Pro automatically have access to the web. So in this scenario, uh, I will go through how you can change the settings to get the best performance out of BDM and using the VPN. If you still have a VPN connection already. If you don't have a VPN, this will be an issue with BDM. Yes. Um, okay. So I will explain to you now if you are a user of BDM when you are communicating with the server. So I'll switch now to my BDM interface. What I have here is BDM Pro, but BDM Pro and BDM Standard is the same when we come through the communication with the server. Uh, so when I click on any file in BDM interface, you will see here several tabs in the bottom section, which is explaining the preview of the file, the data, the custom properties of the file, the version, bill of material, contains, and where used. Give you intensive information about your file. Version is the one that you have to keep your eye on it when you are working from home to know if your local cache is equivalent to the server or not. Because going back to this slide, how BDM is working is each and every client has a local cache in his machine. And this local cache, you keep updating it by communicating with the SQL Server and archive server on demand. So what I'm accessing here is my local cache. And BDM show me an equal sign here that referring that my local cache is equivalent to the server. So it means if I check out this file, if I'm doing any changes, I'm dealing with my local cache. I will show you an example if I don't have a local cache, how this sign will look. I will clear my local cache now. So if you don't have a local cache of a file, this sign will be here, a red question mark. And the local version will show you there is no a local version. So now you know that when you switch to preview tab, so the BDM will take a longer time to download the file using the VPN connection from your archive server to your local cache, because we are working from home. Other scenario is if you click on a file and see a red mark like this means your local cache is older version. So maybe one of my colleagues checked out the file, modify it, and I didn't update my local cache yet. That's why I still have local cache version 2 out of 4. To get the latest version in my local cache, just switch to preview tab. Yep. It seems that this one I did on purpose before to switch it to old one. So I will not switch only to preview tab. I'll use another command like get latest version. Yep, now I have the equal version. So get latest version, preview tab is the two commands that can download the latest local cache in your machine. So please don't keep your preview tab active all the time, because if preview tab is active all the time, this means every time you are selecting different file, you are downloading a local cache in your machine for this file if you don't have it. So the system will be too slow. So switch to any other tab while navigating through your BDM interface, which will be much faster. Other commands that can give you the latest local cache is checkout. But checkout is giving you a permission as well to modify the file. Without checkout, you can't modify it. So if I check out the file, I will have the latest version by default. Then you are allowed to modify it. If I open now this port and modify it, I'm modifying my local cache. So the performance will be very fast comparing to using a shared network path, because in reality, when I do any changes, like I will add a hole here. So in reality, when I do changes, when I do saving, I'm communicating with my local cache. I'm not communicating with the server. So save now, I'm saving in my local cache. That's why BDM show me a green sign here. This green sign means my local file is newer than the server. So once I'm done with the design in my local, and I would like to share it with everyone else so they can use it, or I would like to save it in the server now, the only command that will communicate with the server now is chicken. Chicken will send this information to the server. So you have to write a command, then chicken. Chicken and checkout process might be a little bit slower when you are using a VPN connection, but still will be way better than using a shared network path. So we went through now when BDM is communicating with the server if you are a BDM user. I will talk about other benefits of BDM if you are not a BDM user and you would like to consider to start using it now, since BDM standard is already available in your product list as a free solution. So capabilities we have here is, again, the workflow. You can create a workflow to manage your data. This workflow has authorities control, so who can do what when. You can control if the file status is initiated, who can modify it. If the file is released already to production, no one can modify it, for example. So we can put authorities, who can do what when. Only managers can send the file for approvals, for example. And once the file is sent to approval, production team will receive a notification, or purchasing team will receive a notification, and so on. PDF file, DXF file, and XML file, all of these files will be generated automatically. In BDM standard, only PDF file generated automatically. We have a permission controls to control who can do what when based on a folder structure. So you can create a folder, only yourself can modify the data on this folder, and no one else can see it at all, for example. Okay, since we went through most of the stuff in BDM, how BDM is working and how BDM is communicating with the server. Now the last topic for BDM is how to set up the setting for BDM add-on and BDM to reduce the communication with the server. I know I mentioned earlier that the only communication with the server is during preview, get latest version, checkout. But actually, there is another communication happening with the server all the time with the SQL Express or SQL Standard. I will show you now when I open a big assembly. You know, BDM is a collaborative environment for multi-user. So I might check out an assembly and one of my colleagues will check out one of the parts of this assembly and will start modify it. While I'm dealing with the parent assemblies and my colleagues finish the changes, I would like to keep myself updated if someone did any changes. That's something managed by BDM. So when I open a big assembly like this one, it's not literally big, but it has a good number of ports. I have the equal sign here that show me now I have an equivalent local cache. If someone else checked out a file, BDM will refresh the tree here and will update me that X designer has checked out this part because it's not checked out by me. Then later on will show me here a attention mark that this file has been updated by your colleague. So your assembly tree in BDM add-on is keep refreshing to give you up-to-date information about the situation of the parts inside the assembly you're dealing with. For sure, no one can modify a part you already checked it out. I'm talking about the parts that not checked out by you. So BDM will keep refreshing the tree all the time while you're working. Refreshing the tree to update you if someone check out a file or someone modified as information exists in the SQL database. So this means SolidWorks add-on, BDM add-on inside SolidWorks is communicating with the SQL database all the time. Not only during refreshing the tree, but during a lot of other operations. If you want to monitor these operations and control the refreshing with SQL to enhance the performance, you have to go to Tools, SolidWorks BDM, Options. Tools, SolidWorks BDM, again I'll show it to you guys. Tools, SolidWorks BDM, Options. In options here, there is a very important option that controls the communication with the SQL. Automatically update the tree and the extra tree ban. So after a component window has been activated, so once you just switch between a part environment to the assembly environment, the tree will be refreshed. So BDM now will take longer time because he's communicating with the SQL server over the VPN connection to update you with the situation of all the parts. So switching between parts and assemblies now will be much slower. Adding component or deleting or renaming component will refresh the tree, and even reloading component, suppress or unsuppress a component, or checking in, checking out, or get latest version will refresh the tree. It's recommended to disable all of these commands from now on. The only disadvantage of disable these options is you are not updated anymore. I don't know if this file is checked out by someone else. When I try to check out the file, it will show me later on that this file is checked out, but I don't have up-to-date information in my add-on. But what's the harm? You still can do it manually. You can right-click, refresh tree on demand. So we are switching the automatic process that happened behind the scene to be on-demand process to enhance the performance. Instead of wasting time during switching between windows or inserting component, you will do it every like half an hour or an hour when you would like to check if any changes happen. So this is the most important setting that you have to consider within your BDM setting, especially when you're dealing with assemblies and large assemblies as well. So this is the settings we went through. And this is the last topic for BDM. So next slides, I will move to a next topic, which is 3D Experience PLM. So please let me know if you have any question. I'll double check the chat and the question now if anyone asked any question. No, there is nothing here. Is anyone struggling to access the question or the chat window in GoToMeeting? All right. So now I will move to the next topic, which is a different technique of managing your data. BDM is a solution that must be installed in your servers to be able to use. The next solution is the new cloud solution by SolidWorks called 3D Experience Platform or 3D Experience Innovia Works. 3D Experience is a cloud-based data management solution that's accessible in your installed SolidWorks in your machine. It has a similar tab to BDM, but this tab is communicating with a cloud server where is all your information saved. You can explore and navigate through your data on the cloud or in SolidWorks add-in. It has a life cycle or a workflow, but a limited workflow, which has a basic workflow. It's not customizable, but gives you the basics that you want, like submit for approval and approve and so on. So that's the add-on for the cloud version of 3D Experience PLM. You are not dealing with the cloud all the time. It has a similar structure. So all your data has a local cache. So once you do check-in or check-out, you are uploading or downloading your file from the cloud. So it has a similar structure exactly as a BDM, but the difference is BDM is on premises, but 3D Experience PLM is on cloud. It has a very basic workflow, as I mentioned. The status of the file initially is work in process. You can send it to be frozen or released. Released file could be obsoleted later on. Frozen can be unfrozen, or you can send a file from work process to be private. This is a basic workflow that available in BLM solution, and it's not customizable. Yep. So you can access 3D Experience from any device. You can access from your mobile, from your tablet, from anywhere. You have a 3D preview of your file. You can manage your data through use a web access as well. And by the way, 3D Experience PLM is subscription-based license, is not a perpetual license. So you can have it, for example, for 3 months period of time to manage your data. Then you can ditch it and move to a local or yeah. So it's a subscription-based license. So there's a difference between BDM and BLM Corporation or BLM cloud version. BDM is on premises, so it's only if the company want to host it, controlling it by their own servers. High degree of product customization, so you can design your workflows, your version revision as you like, based on your own systems. It required hardware and IT support because this is your own physical hardware. You must support it. You must have IT to support it for you all the time. But for the PLM 3D Experience solution, it's a scalable, growing as you go, and immediate availability. If you want to use it immediately now, it's available for you to start use it. There is no implementation, no setup. The system is up and ready. Minimum hardware. You don't host the hardware. The hardware is hosted by SolidWorks themselves. Yep, always in the latest software, and all the updates happen behind the scene. You don't have to worry about upgrading your system to the latest release or so on. It's automatically updated behind the scene. Yep. So basically, this was all the tips and tricks that you need to consider during working from home and all the solutions that provided by us for managing your data. Our support team is available all the time to support you with even higher number of capacity If you don't know, we have around between 10 to 15 support engineer all over Australia and New Zealand, and daily we have at least 5 engineer covering support to help you in solving your issues. And basically, because during the lockdown, we are expecting more and more support cases, especially that you don't have the work environment anymore that you can ask your colleagues if you have any sort of question. So we are expecting that you guys need more care and more support from us. So we dedicated even more resources to help you guys. So please contact us if you have any question. We have 3 channels of support. You can contact us through email or through our hotline number, whereas one of our application engineers covering the phone and will be able to help you as soon as possible. And the last communication and the most important communication channel is MyInterCAD. MyInterCAD is an add-on inside SolidWorks, which allow you to communicate with the support team easily, and you can access all the webinars in MyInterCAD. So if you would like to, for example, to watch this webinar that we were just doing, we will upload it in MyInterCAD and you can watch it later on. And all the webinars that we did previously is stored in MyInterCAD as well. Like we have a webinar being done like a couple of weeks ago by my colleague marketing about how to deal with large assemblies and how to get the best performance out of SolidWorks. And this one has been uploaded already in MyInterCAD and heaps of others webinars as well. I will show you MyInterCAD in my SolidWorks here. So I will switch to my SolidWorks. Yep, here is my InterCAD interface. In my InterCAD, you have to write down your email to be able to log in. And your email must be existing in our CRM system. So if you try to log in and my InterCAD give you errors that you can't use it, then please contact us through the phone or email and we will add your email to our database so you can start using it. The main 2 sections that you can use here is the headset and the magnifier icon. For the headset, is used for support. So just write down your question, the area for your question, and the severity. Write down the description of the question, drag and drop your file here, and lodge a case. Once you lodge a case, the case will be created immediately in our CRM system, and one of the support team will contact you as soon as possible. Uh, we have a policy for our support team, so if you have an urgent case, we have to get in touch with you within 2 hours maximum. Urgent case basically is you can't use SolidWorks. SolidWorks is not working, like license issue or any reasons that stop you from being productive. So when you raise an urgent case, we'll contact you as soon as possible. The other section in MyInterCAD is the magnifier. So when you double click on it, you can search for any webinar we did early so you can learn more about any module in SolidWorks. Like I've been in a training room before and one of the trainee asked about the costing module. Costing module in sheet metal is not a topic that we covered in the training manual. So we we jumped in MyInterCAD and we did a search for costing to see if there is any webinar covered. And yep, there is 2 webinars here for costing, so you can use it to learn. This one has been done by Bill Marshall, my colleague, and all of these webinars are being created by us. So there is heaps of webinars, heaps of training material exist here in this interface. Yep, so please download it and start use it. To use MyInterCAD, just Google MyInterCAD. Then the first link will pop up as MyInterCAD and Center Innovation. Open the link and download it now. It's just an exe file. Installing will be next finish. That's it. So it should be easy to use. If you are struggling to use it, please contact us and we'll help you as soon as possible. Yep, this is the end of our webinar. Now it's time for your questions. So I'll be waiting for a few minutes for your question if you have any. Yep, I will check now this chat section. Anything I can help you with today, guys? Um, Frankly, like I'm in the technical side of BDM, so I don't have a pricing that I can share with you. For 3D Experience PLM, it's subscription based. It's not a perpetual license like SolidWorks and BDM. But I can ask one of my colleagues or the account manager to contact you and share with you more about the pricing. Um, yeah. Yep, I'll get back to you as soon as possible with the pricing. Yep. Thank you, Nick. Yep, no worries. What other questions we have? How's your first day in working from home, guys? Yeah. I feel it's more quiet and more productive here. Am I right? Yep. All right. Please let me know if you would like me to unmute your mic to ask your question with the mic instead of writing down. Yep. Um, Looks like this is all of the questions that we have for today. By the way, we will be running the same webinar tomorrow, same topics, just to make sure that all of our customers attend this webinars and we answer any questions you have. So if you're still struggling in working from home and you have any question, you can either contact us through support or you can join us tomorrow again. Thank you for your time today and enjoy your afternoon. Thank you so much.